Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Today we'll be doing a little bit of a restorative yin practice. And today you'll just need a bolster for props. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a pillow or a couple of pillows stacked, whatever you might have around your house that is soft and supportive. There won't be any music in this video, but if you'd like music to accompany you, I've included a playlist down below in the description, so you can pause and go ahead and play that if you like to have music while you practice. Otherwise, we will just jump in, and we'll start in a hero's pose with our knees bent and our bolster under our hips. And then once you settle with your tailbone there, if that's comfortable, you may want to adjust yourself to be seated up a little bit higher. We're just looking for the crown to be stacked on top of the shoulders, on top of the hips, on top of the ankles. And then once you find yourself there, take any small movements that you need to take before letting your eyes either close or gently lower. And begin to hear your breath as it moves in and washes out. Envisioning it like a wave on the sand, never quite stopping, no jagged edges. Just finding that rhythm that lives inside. Today's practice will be quite slow, moving through a few poses and holding them. We'll hold for between 2 and 5 minutes. Some of them will have 2 sides depending on the pose. And in each pose, you're looking for your, let's say, 60 to 80% edge. You want to be somewhere that feels like where your body is comfortable today. Not trying too hard. And the way that you can figure that out is if you can breathe. If you can't breathe, you've gone too far. Begin to notice your breath again here. A simple inhale. A simple exhale. And this is what we'll return to today. It's a to-do list. The things on your schedule later today. Things start clouding your mind. Return to the breath. Know that everything else will still be there once we're done. Let the eyes either open or come to a gentle gaze. Again, taking any small movements in the neck or the shoulders as you find your own way into a tabletop position on your mat. Wrists under elbows, under shoulders, hips stacked on top of the knees, and moving into a couple of gentle cat-cows. As you inhale, gaze lift, belly drops. And as you exhale, spine arches high. Inhale, rolling the shoulders down the back, tail lifts. Exhale, peeling the shoulders towards the sky, tail to the floor. One more inhale in and up. One more exhale, up and down. And then pressing yourself back into our first pose today, child's pose. If you need a little bit of space, you can have your knees wide to the mat, or you can keep them together today. Letting the third eye gently meet the mat, massaging it back and forth a bit. Feeling the hips grow heavy towards the ground. Feeling the fingertips reaching forward. Not too much effort there today, though. Tapping in and listening to the breath. And here, I'd like to introduce you to a meditative technique that we call metta meditation, where we work on finding santosha, contentment, by sharing gratitude. You can stay in a child's pose here. I'll be seated in a hero's pose, just so you can hear me properly. On your first inhale in, you can recite either gently out loud or in your head, "May I be happy," and exhale. Inhale, "May I be healthy." Exhale. Inhale, "May I be free." Exhale. Inhale, "May I be happy." Exhale. Inhale, "May I be healthy." Exhale. Inhale, "May I be free." Exhale. Begin to crawl your fingertips up towards the knees, finding your bolster, setting it out in front of you, and then beginning to find your puppy pose by pressing the hips forward so they align again over the knees as in our tabletop. And then the elbows will find our bolster ahead, coming into a prayer, with the forehead either finding the bolster or perhaps the mat underneath, whatever feels most appropriate for your body today. You can scoot the knees back if they floated in too close to the body. You should feel a really beautiful stretch along the side body and into the armpit chest here, in an extended puppy pose. Releasing and relaxing down. Trying not to fidget, but finding a spot where you can rest and let gravity do its job here. Continue to feel the hips pulling back evenly, not collapsing to one side or the other. Maybe letting the prayer hands move towards the back of the skull, extending the shoulders a bit further. And breathing into the shoulders, into the chest, into the armpits. You can return here to the first meditation round with each breath. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free. Just a few more breaths in this pose for you to find what you need here today. As you feel ready, you can start to back out of the pose, back to that child's pose, by just sinking your hips back and then letting the arms wrap around and back towards the feet, curling up into a little ball, and resting here. Letting the body relax from the pose. The second phase of metta meditation is devoting the intention to someone neutral to us. So maybe a grocery store clerk or the bus driver or a person you pass by on the sidewalk. Someone you don't know much about, but you want to share some gratitude, share life experience with. Think of someone, and as you inhale, may you be happy. And exhale. Inhale, may you be healthy. And exhale. Inhale. May you be free. Exhale. From your child's pose, walk the hands up once again, locating your bolster, and then lying down on your belly with the bolster or pillows, whatever you've got, right underneath your hips. Finding that hip crease, settling it in, finding a comfortable spot, and then folding your arms to simply let your forehead meet the mat on top of your hands. We'll stay here for a moment, feeling the hips release. If you sit a lot throughout the day, hopefully this will help undo a little bit of the tension in the lower back and the hip flexors, kind of flipping the perspective on how we hold our body. Just releasing it into the mat here. On your next inhale, raise both of the arms up, long and parallel to the mat, the legs long and parallel. Spider your fingertips and walk them towards the right corner of the room. Here, if that feels good, You can relax the hands down. Maybe the left palm comes on top of the right hand. Forehead finds the mat. If you feel good here, stay. If you'd like to go a little deeper, find a little more sensation, you can also walk the feet towards the right bottom corner of the mat, keeping the hips heavy and grounded, and maybe crossing the left foot over the right. In our banana asana, flipped onto your belly. The idea here is to reduce any lower back crunching in the pose. Find a bit of that santosha, that contentment here. How can we be happy with the pose when it looks different? Can we be happy with the sensation that the pose provides? Breathing into that left side body, grounding the left hip, grounding the left shoulder, and this gentle side bend. Releasing down. And stay here for about 10 breaths. Remember, you always have the option to move back to a child's pose, to back off of your pose today, or maybe to go a little deeper if you found you've made more space. Just a couple more breaths here. Keeping the hands where they are. Unhook the left foot from the right if you have it hooked. Roll slightly onto your right side, using your left palm to press yourself up only enough to pull the left leg up onto the bolster. Raise your left arm high again, and let your right arm move down towards the right leg, envisioning what it might look like if you were doing a reverse warrior and you planted it on the ground. My left leg is in somewhat of a half frog. Still enjoying the side bend in the left side body with the arm outstretched overhead. Both hips planting into the bolster. Left foot is flexed. Make sure you can breathe here. We won't be here quite as long as the other poses, but still try to find that sense of stillness, that sense of contentment in the pose. Maybe some people would call it their edge. It's where you just need to be today. Just 2 more breaths. Gently, and perhaps not quite gracefully, release your limbs back to neutral. Hips squared to the bolster, head resting on the back of the hands on the mat. As we rest here, return to that second round of metta meditation, thinking of the person you chose. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free. Curling the fingertips long overhead, spidering the fingers up. Walk them towards the left corner of your mat, keeping the hips heavy, releasing the forehead to the floor. Perhaps laying the right hand on top of the left, and then maybe walking the feet towards the left corner of the mat. Again, hips heavy. Maybe the right ankle crosses over the left into your banana asana. Each breath in, feel your ribs expanding on the right side body. Each breath out, feeling the hips settling even heavier into the earth. remember, if those thoughts keep sneaking in, weaseling their way in, let them float by as easily as a cloud in the sky, knowing that if it's important, it will be there later. About 5 more breaths here to find what you need. Adjusting your posture as necessary. Letting the left arm float down towards the left leg. Uncross the right ankle over the left. Use your right fingertips to press yourself up only as much as it takes to move your right thigh and knee on top of your bolster. Knee at a right angle to the ankle. And then letting the right arm come up overhead, ear or forehead to the mat, and our supine reverse warrior. Breathing into both side bodies, feeling the hips heavy to the mat, both equally heavy. Opening up through the right hip. About 5 more breaths. Focusing on releasing the body into the mat. Focusing on the breath and the body. Focusing on exactly what you need here today. Let your right knee slide off the bolster, returning everything back to that neutral. Letting the forehead meet the hands for a brief moment. Perhaps taking note of what feels different from when we started practice. Walk your hands out in front. And then find your elbows crawling back, either under the shoulders or slightly forward. Hips still heavy to that bolster, pelvis pressing down. Feet hip distance or perhaps wider. Feeling the shoulders wrap back and down. The palms pressing into the mat and pulling it back as if you could just tear the mat towards you. Finding your Sphinx pose here. A little bit of a more fiery in pose. Take a big deep inhale in. Let it out the mouth. One more time in. And exhale. Find a couple of neck circles, rolling the nose down and around. Ear goes right ear, right shoulder. Left ear, left shoulder. Whatever will bring you contentment here and help you serve yourself today. As if you're still working into the neck, let that movement find some stillness. Gaze towards the top edge of your mat. Crown lifts high. Feeling a continuous flow of energy as you inhale from toes, knees, hips, chest, crown, and exhaling crown, shoulders, hips, heels. If you'd like today, only if it feels right in your body and you're not going to hurt yourself. Press your palms flat, then lift up into seal. Maintaining that rolling of the shoulders down the back, maintaining the pressing of the pelvis into the mat, maintaining that hand lock, pulling your hands towards your hips, feeling a stretch through the front body, opening the hips, the abdomen, these places that we hunch over all day as we sit. Continue to breathe here, about 5 breaths left. Last 2 breaths. And let yourself come all the way down to your belly. And rests on the back of your hands. And let the knees bend, feet come up. Gently windshield wipering the legs. And then finding stillness in the middle. Resting for a full breath in. And a full breath out. Pushing back through child's pose. Walking the hands back to the knees. Swinging the knees over to one side, all while keeping the eyes closed or gently lowered if you like. And settle the bolster under your knees. Hips, under heart, under shoulders, under crown. Let the palms gently press into the mat as the heels flex forward. Feeling the crown lifting high with an inhale. Exhale to bend forward over the legs. Hands finding calves or ankles or feet. Really releasing that lower back. Releasing everything over the knees. Feeling totally supported by the bolster and by the earth lifting up to cradle the body. As you continue to release here, we'll move into the final portion of metta meditation, which, quite frankly, is the most challenging. Extending this goodwill, this contentment to someone who maybe causes us discomfort or pain. Maybe someone who just annoys you, or maybe someone who's undertaken a larger transgression. We'll work on giving up contentment away to them, because perhaps then we can find true contentment in ourselves. Thinking of that person, and of course, you can always return to one of the earlier phases if this is just too much for you today. May you be happy. Exhale. May you be healthy. Exhale. May you be free from suffering. Exhale. Inhale. May you be happy. Exhale. May you be healthy. Exhale. May you be free. Exhale. About 5 more breaths here. As you feel ready, use your hands to press yourself all the way back up to seated. Placing your hands on the floor next to your hips, feeling the spine lift tall. Just resting from the pose for a moment. Let the soles of your feet come together, maybe scooching yourself forward a little. Knees on top of the bolster. Maybe the feet are wider out from the hips. Maybe they're a little closer to the hips, depending on where you want to be today. Finding our butterfly pose. And then walking the palms back. Maybe adjusting the bolster with us. Finding a supine butterfly pose. Knees supported by the bolster as the hips open. Maybe today, if you're using pillows, you could stack up 2 under each knee, or you could use blocks. We'll be staying here for a little bit more of an extended period of time. Letting gravity help open our hips and open the front body as we move towards the end of class. Your hands can be on the belly, feeling the breath moving in and out. They can rest on the hips, helping weight them to the floor. A reminder to stay grounded. You can open your palms up next to the body, inviting any wisdom in. Or you can have the arms outstretched overhead, expressing joy and feeling the expansiveness of the body. Finding where you are content here today. Then all you have to do is breathe. As the pose goes along, each exhale makes the body just a little heavier. What time am I at?
Another 23 minutes.
Perfect. The metta meditation we practiced today, you can sneak it in the smallest corners of your day as a meditation. Helping you to find that peace of gratitude and groundedness. Return to the realization that we're all made of the same stuff. And that perhaps giving away our good intentions is how we might get them back ourselves. Just a few more breaths here. Without opening your eyes, slide the legs long, still keeping the knees on the bolster, letting the feet fall out, letting the backs of the hands find the mat wide to the body, and let it be done. Begin to notice your breath. The weight of the body pressing into the floor. Allow some movement into the fingertips and the toes, the ankles, the wrists, the neck. Finding movements until you can roll over onto one side. Taking one breath in and out. Pressing all the way up to a comfortable seated position. Letting the hands find the knees as you roll the shoulders up and back. As we inhale together, may the world be happy. Exhale. May the world be healthy. Exhale. May the whole world be free from suffering. Exhale. Bring your hands to heart center, acknowledging that we are the ones who can do the work to make this our reality. I hope you can take some of this practice off your mat and into the world. Thank you for joining me today.